finally, I got to ayahuasca, which I'd heard was a good antidepressant.
Yeah.
Vaguely. And then somebody sent me an article from the New York Times because I'm at the age where I get my drug ideas from the New York Times. I did it probably 15 times and I got better, less depressed every time. And then I did, and I got, not only did I got, you have to stop taking antidepressants to do it. And not only did I go off antidepressants to do it, I stayed off them. And be in the third night, I stopped being an atheist.
And I want to get to that.
Yeah.
I love this story. I've heard little nibbles of it that you've told some other place. And I want to do a deep dive. I want to do the deepest possible dive on the God that you found through ayahuasca. But first...
Similar to the God you found in your book. Or that you, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I want to push on this a little bit. I want to say that anyone that's doing hallucinogens because they're clinically depressed, they've tried everything else, and they need a way out, or they're clinically addicted, they've tried everything else, and they want a way out. I'm amen for that. So I'm all
Can I
in.
do my own preamble?
I'm all in. I have so much more to say. Are you sure you want to say this right now?
Well, I just want to say, as someone who's done almost 20 times ayahuasca,
went from 15 to 20 now.
Be careful.
Let me get to part two of my dialogue, my diatribe here. First of all, I hate the words plant medicine. Because you know what else is a plant? Heroin. You know what else is a plant? Cocaine. Don't give me your plant medicine bullshit.
I'll do my best.
It feels like a justification. I also get a little bit tired of the contemporary idea of instant spiritual enlightenment due to a drug. Because I am old enough to remember people talking about LSD in the same way in the early 70s.
And they're going to start talking about it again soon. And they are now.
I remember people talking about mushrooms and peyote that way in the 80s. And there's always been a component of society that has said, well, you can find God, you can find divinity, you can find meaning and purpose and illumination through drugs. And I get a little scared because you have all of these very powerful influencers talking about, doing ayahuasca or acid and hallucinogens, and it can be dangerous. I've also met I've met several people, including an uncle of mine, who've completely fried their brains from microdosing and overusing. And I do think that one can find the divine inspiration, transcendence, connection, incredible beauty in ways that don't involve drugs. Now, again, this is not a judgment on you at all. I respect your journey so much. Like, when I hear about your life story, what you went through and what you've accomplished, and I truly mean this, Neal, like, it's jaw-dropping to me. And I've heard some of your ayahuasca stories and I want to get deeper, but I get a little scared about this. Hey, everyone, jump on into the hallucinogen bandwagon.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Because the truth of it is, I've had two experiences that were, after the ayahuasca, I did DMT, Bufo, Alvarius. It's got 3 different names. But
I don't know what that is.
It's a toad venom.
You did a toad venom?
Let me finish. But it's one of the good ones. No, it's a toad secretion, not a venom. It's like a, it's like a toad. Okay. Let's say it's a toad pimple. Yeah, I mean, like a pimp. They literally scrape the white and then they dry it and then you smoke it. It's basically pure DMT, and you freebase it.
Okay.
DMT is an ingredient in ayahuasca, but you drink it so your body breaks it down, and then it enters your bloodstream.
So it's reptile medicine.
Basically, yeah. And I did it, and it was more severe than that. It was so far past. I do a thing in blocks where I do like a montage of what it was kind of like. That doesn't even get to it. I was so far past. I told somebody I was aiming for God, and I missed my stop.
Okay.
That's Michael
amazing.
Pollan did it, and he said it was, and I had the same experience. It was like going to before the Big Bang.
Wow.
It's you don't think about it long. Like, give yourself 3 seconds of what that would be like, and then get out of there.
Okay, so let's go right to the God thing. You do ayahuasca. You're a diehard atheist. and you witness the divine. What's that like? Talk us through it.
I think a lot of people, especially in LA and a lot of the influencers and all that stuff, they're doing these drugs. I'll use your word, you and the cops. They're trying to optimize themselves. They're trying to be better workers. They're trying to be, I'm going to break through and then I'm going to be, it's the reason people out here juice and salad and hike. It's all to become famous. I really believe that. It's all to get.
I've never heard anyone comparing juicing, salading, and hiking to doing toad.
They're all performance. They're
secretions.
ultimately performance enhancing drugs. That's how I think most people do them. I did them because I heard it would end depression, right? And then I had,
which I respect, mad respect.
Yeah, but I think most people are doing it to just like so that I can.
But I think most people are also doing it because they're lazy. Because I want to go for a weekend
totally
down
agree.
to Costa Rica.
I totally agree.
And I want to pay a shaman $1,200, and I want to have a shortcut to transcendence.
Yes.
Instead of reading
they
the
call
great
it
books.
Spiritual bypass. Yeah. And I don't even know if my depression reasoning is the right reasoning. I kind of think it's better than trying to be a better actor, writer, director, whatever. But that's my own judgment. So I do it first night. I do it one weekend, and I just had a really nice experience, like a very pleasant. Mm-hmm. I cried for like 3 hours straight to the point, and I wasn't even crying. It was kind of joyful crying. I was crying about groups of people. I don't even like groups of people. I just was.
What's that hypnotherapy? What were you diagnosed with about joy?
Dysthymia.
So was it the first time you experienced joy?
It would not. Again, it's not like I never experienced it, but it's just always a little like I always had the feeling like there's better one than this.
Yeah.
So it was not quite that, but it was very, very, very loving and warm.
That's great.
Yeah. Then I go. That's one on a Saturday night, and then a month or two later, I go to a weekend. First night, the medicine just didn't work. Second night, drink it, and the thing about ayahuasca to me is you kind of go inside the fabric of existence.
What does that feel like? Can you describe it more specifically?
It's so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're inside the essence of. You had a lot of. I mean, they're not your words, but the Native American. Mm-hmm. Tonka, whatever.
Wakantanka, the Lakota definition of the great mystery of God. That's not a personification at all. It's not an old man with a beard.
I've never once thought it was a person. Since I got back into it after this night. I never thought it was a person. Never thought it was a man. Never. In Aya, they say like mother. It's never been gendered to me. Somebody told me that started in the early 2000s, gendering what I call the central creation force. You're just like, oh. It was, I opened my eyes and it was Raiders of the Lost Ark, the very end, before the faces melt, when the angels are just flying around.
Which is a little terrifying when those angels are flying around.
Yeah.
It's not pretty angels. They're
right, but it's also ill-gotten, so I think that covers it. Look, antiquities belong to American white people, and I think that's the point of the movie.
I've been to the British Museum.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just like okay, because I grew up Catholic, altar boy, church, all that stuff for 12 years, and you just end up, church ends up just being, I kind of believe that most religious ceremonies as we understand them, are pretty close to spiritless, and they're a road production or like a high school production of the thing that you can experience. There is a central.
That's a great way of putting it.
There is a central creation force, but it doesn't care about any of the things.
It's like a community theater production of the Big Bang,
as
opposed to the Big Bang.
Yes,
itself.
And like they do this, and they're like that's ayahuasca.
And the swing.
The smoke. Yes,
yeah.
And you're like, this is lost in translation. There is a central creation force, that I believe in, and that I believe I've experienced, and it doesn't care what you eat, doesn't care if you're gay, doesn't care how you pray, it doesn't care. I talked to Pete Holmes about this recently, where it's the central creation force that I've experienced isn't a person. So the idea of it having rules
Right.
is silly.
Mm-hmm.
Before you even get into the rules,
Mm-hmm.
they're silly. And the reading in Soulbum, like it's a force. And then
So, but I have a couple questions, but talk me through what else you saw, witnessed, experienced, felt. How did it touch your heart? You had you touched the central creation force. Give us some more details.
it felt like generations of humanity were kind of in this frequency. Like thousands,
Which is,
of
again,
years.
very close to the Native American idea, because it's very hard, and from what little I know of Native American spiritual experience, like ancestors are always brought in. It's always like God of our ancestors, connecting with the ancestors.
Yeah, I have a joke about the ancestors where I'm like, if you're black or brown or indigenous, go ahead and pray to your ancestors. White people do not pray to your ancestors. So I didn't see pasty
I
Irish
have an
people.
ancestor, a great-great-grandfather, who literally killed Native Americans by the score in North Dakota and Minnesota. So I'm not going to pray to his spirit.
You're double fucked by that, because you can't pray to the natives and you can't pray to the guy who killed
screwed.
him. So
I can have a podcast.
You're in a tough spot. You're in a tough spot. So it felt like that. It just felt like a way bigger picture.
Did you hear anything? Did this central creative force speak to you in any way?
I've never heard anything. I've never experienced, like, what happens a lot of times after these ceremonies is everyone shares, and everyone's trying to out.
And I felt like the angels.
Everyone's trying to out revelation and how special their experience was.
Yeah,
I don't have anything I can point to as, especially not on ayahuasca. A couple times ago.
But how do you know that there's a central creation force from doing a drug? Couldn't you have someone who's an atheist said, like, well, you took a drug and it lit up this one part of your brain that made you believe that there was some force outside of yourself? I'm
totally willing to accept that could also be true.
Yeah.
It sure doesn't feel like it.
And what is your connection to this central creative force since ayahuasca? How does that work on a daily basis, on a weekly basis? Do you communicate with it? Are you able to touch it in meditation? Is there an aspect of prayer? Have you had glimpses of it in nature, in beautiful lovemaking, in witnessing
I am
of art?
more loving. I am more loving. I'm funnier. I've had so many people come up and be like, "You're lighter." I got better on stage because I'm 10% lighter. I get bigger laughs than I've ever gotten because I'm 10% lighter from ayahuasca and DMT. I believe it's made me fall in love easier. It gives me a little distance from my nervous system, from my reactive nervous system, a little bit. I yell less. I'm less, like, generally angry. I can watch myself more and, like, kind of, what are you doing?
What would you have been like on this podcast?
Angrier.
For 3 or 4 years ago.
Angrier.
And would you have been a more judgy, like, who's this guy? Like, oh, this guy wants to talk about spirituality.
No, I just wouldn't. No,
sitcom actor. Like, would you have been kind of like?
I would have been just generally angrier.
Do you connect with this power at all, even in nature and something? I bring that up because, like, I do meditation pretty much daily, and I have this little bench out in my backyard, and I live in a really privileged place. I live in a really nice house with beautiful trees. Thank you. Sometimes I just can't meditate. So I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't fucking do this. And then I just sit and I just look. And there's a hummingbird, and there's the sunlight streaming through a 50-year-old olive tree, and there's a flower blooming, and I hear a cricket, and I am able to be like, I'm with God. This beauty, this majesty, this mystery, it almost makes me cry. It's just so beautiful. And then I just get to sit in witness of it. And that can be a kind of meditation. And maybe I've got hippie parents. So I do have a hippie side of me.
Yeah. Okay. So after the ayahuasca and after the DMT.
Is that just dumb?
No. Since I've done those two things in a major way and kind of opened up something in myself, Whenever I do mushrooms or MDMA, it's that.
Why do you keep doing them? How long are you going to keep doing these hallucinogens?
I don't know. In a weird way, it kind of feels like upkeep, meaning I get a lot. It's a continuation of that spirit and that channel, and I get almost more from MDMA than I've got from ayahuasca and DMT. From MDMA, I've gotten my understanding of like, oh, this is nature is God. And I had another couple big things from MDMA that I am like that are shareable, whereas the Aya stuff is just more in your body. One of them was I'm a grudge holder, and one day on MDMA I was able to release all of my grudges with ease, with absolute ease, right? And then the next day I was like, why was that so easy for me? And it was because I was flooded with dopamine, oxytocin, the other one, and the other feel-good chemical. So it was easy for me to forgive people. It was like it was just an easy thing. Like some people are temperamentally more forgiving. I would argue because they have better chemicals. I realized the reason I'm so sort of obsessed with justice and fairness and retribution is because those are the chemicals I have. I have, cortisol and like more negative ones.
Yeah.
And the way cortisol to me organizes itself is vengeance, righteousness.
Yeah.
Those are sort of like the smiles of cortisol is like that organizational thing. So that got me to, I don't even believe what I think I believe. It's just what the chemicals are telling me I believe.
The Soul Boom Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your stupid podcasts.